So I truthfully did not think I'd talk about the whole Tom Macdonald stuff again, primarily because it didn't seem like it was really getting that much traction. But Chrissie, Mayr, one of the people who was targeted by all of this, has done a live stream, which I watched yesterday, where she broke down some of the things in the behind-the-scenes stuff, including confirming some things that I was pretty sure of before, but now we know for certain. This includes the fact that these claims were manually reviewed. Tom Macdonald had made a statement on Twitter, I'm going to put that on screen right here, where he had stated that this was the algorithm's fault. I also had people in the replies of my last YouTube video talking about this topic who said the exact same thing. People basically stating that Tom Macdonald didn't actually do this, that this was the YouTube algorithm, and nobody manually did anything. But we now know that is not true. Now, I already knew this was the case in some of the situations, like Eric Hunley and some others, where clearly these things were done manually. But we weren't really clear in the Chrissie situation. She has since shown that stuff on stream, talked about that more. So this was manually done, meaning that my assumption is that Nova or Tom or somebody in his immediate team were the ones who manually decided that these people's sort of rebuffs to his claims were not copacetic and continued to claim revenue on those videos. Now, we also saw in this stream that Chrissie Mayr went over an article that was written, a profile piece by the Rolling Stone. Much like she did, I want to preface this by saying the Rolling Stone is a absolute dumpster fire media publication. I don't really trust them all that much, but this article is interesting because what they actually do here is pick out specific quotes and things that Tom Macdonald has done and said over his career, and some of these things are legitimate that I've looked into. It's hard to know whether the quotes that this woman attributed to him are correct or not, but I will say this: I've yet to find any reference online of Tom Macdonald rebuffing any of these claims that were made in this Rolling Stone article, other than somebody talking about, and Chrissie mentioned this on her stream, something to do with him being sort of hysterical about the COVID stuff. That apparently had something to do with somebody in his household having asthma. Personally, I don't have much sympathy for that because my father has very bad asthma and still did perfectly fine without a mask throughout the pandemic. Regardless of all that stuff, there is just a lot in this article that make it appear that Tom Macdonald is playing basically a character. That he found a niche within music, that he branded, sort of created this artificial character around it, this Tom Macdonald being, and injected that into the music industry. I have a bit of a different opinion than this article, but I do think it gets some things right. I believe that Tom Macdonald was creating rap music that had to do with things like addiction issues and other things that he's talked about in his older music. I believe that those songs were not making any money and weren't really getting him anywhere, but then he figured out what would, this targeted political content. His newer music takes almost a bit of a country vibe to it, and this is what I think put him on Ryan Upchurch's radar. He's now put out diss tracks against Tom Macdonald, which we'll probably talk about on the stream or something at some point, because unlike Tom here, Ryan actually lets people play his music on streams and on platforms. And I think, frankly, he's playing up on that whole country thing because that seems to be what people on the right are playing into right now, which is sort of funny to me because he's from Canada. Anybody who knows his upbringing knows he has really no connection to much of the hillbilly or redneck lifestyle, that's for certain. But regardless, that alone puts into question how much of what this guy is saying you should really take seriously. But the question really comes down to whether or not you believe that Tom Macdonald believes the things he's saying in his songs. And at this point, after reading some of the things I've come across online, I really don't think he does. I think he's playing a character. And I mean, you're allowed to do that, but you're not going to get nearly as much respect from people online. What Tom Macdonald has done recently is, because some of the channels he's striking are legitimate copyright abusers or fair use abusers that are playing these videos without interruption and just playing them through. In those cases, he should be claiming the videos. But the problem is, it seems that Tom has gotten so used to this system and being able to claim videos that he's begun to claim videos that are fair use. I'd point towards Eric Hunley, I'd point towards Chrissie, I'd point towards a number of other people I put in my last video. And I'm sure I'm going to get a similar reaction in the comment section. A bunch of people screaming into the void telling me that I need to talk about how some people are reacting to content and it's not fair use. Trust me, I think those people should get what's coming to them. But I also want to point something out here, which is a point that's been made by Ryan Upchurch on some of his social media, as well as a lot of people on Twitter outside of the music industry. Which is that reaction channels, people who review and talk about songs as they release, especially these ones that have to do with pop culture like Tom Macdonald's, these people help spread these songs. And in a big way, I think it's what made Tom Macdonald famous. I think it helped his music definitely reach more people. There is no radio anymore, right? At least not that anybody is listening to. This has been replaced by things like Spotify. So to me, people doing streams and reviews of songs is sort of what has replaced that. And so I do think that people should give a little more leeway when we're talking about music here. But in general, most of the cases I've seen of people being claimed that are actually publicly talking about it are definitely fair use. The people who are getting claimed in which the cases aren't fair use aren't really talking about it because they realize that what they did was wrong. That's something I think some people have missed here. But that's sort of just an update. I think it's really interesting to think about whether or not Tom Macdonald is really telling the truth when he's talking in his songs, whether this is all an act, just like it was when he was a wrestler, or whether this is his genuine opinion. Frankly, at this point, I think this is all an act. I think he figured out a niche where he could make some money, and he's been doing that since. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.